In October 2010, Fenway Sports Group bought Liverpool Football Club, the whole thing for £300 million. The club was drowning in debt. The previous owners were being dragged through the High Court, and there was a genuine possibility Liverpool would go into administration. 16 years later, a consortium is closing in on roughly 1/3 of that same club. The reported price, around $2 billion, which means a minority stake in Liverpool today is worth something like 4.5 times what the entire club cost in 2010. And one of the men buying it is Jeff Bezos. But here is the contradiction at the heart of this story. The buyers are putting up takeover money without getting a takeover. FSG are selling around 1/3 of Liverpool without surrendering control. And nearly $2 billion can change hands without guaranteeing the manager a single extra pound. So what are these investors really buying? And is this a one-off deal or the first step in FSG's exit? That is what we're going to unpack. And subscribe in advance. If the video doesn't deliver, you can just unsubscribe at the end. Deal. So let's start with what is actually happening. As I record this, the deal has not been officially announced. FSG are reportedly preparing to confirm it, possibly this week. But nothing is signed in public, and completing a transaction like this can take considerably longer than announcing it. What multiple outlets report is this: a consortium is acquiring a stake of around 1/3 of Liverpool in a deal that values the club at somewhere near $6 billion. And the crucial detail, FSG keep control. This is a minority sale. John Henry's group is not leaving, Liverpool is not being taken over, and the people buying in will not be picking the manager. What's being sold is a share of the ownership of an asset, not the keys to the football club. The consortium is fronted by a man called Amit Abatia, and his story might be the most interesting one in the deal. Abatia is a 46-year-old British Indian entrepreneur with an investment banking background who runs a firm called AB Capital. He's not new to English football. He joined the board of Queen's Park Rangers in 2007, aged 28, later became chairman, and ran the club until 2023, selling out of QPR shortly before this Liverpool story surfaced. He's married to Vanisha Mittal, daughter of the steel billionaire Lakshmi Mittal. And one correction, because the internet has already made this mistake, Lakshmi Mittal himself has not been named as part of this deal. Being someone's father-in-law is not the same as being an investor. The second name is Eduardo Azaverin, co-founder of Facebook, worth somewhere north of $30 billion. And this isn't his first attempt at English football. In 2022, he was part of a consortium bidding for Chelsea and lost out to Todd Bowley's group. And then Bezos, 62 years old, founder of Amazon out of a rented garage in 1994. Currently, the third richest person on the planet with a fortune Forbes puts above $280 billion. Here's what makes his involvement genuinely notable. For all his wealth, Bezos has never owned a major sports team. He looked at NFL franchises, the Seahawks, the Commanders, and walked away from both. If this completes, a Premier League club becomes his first. So the real headline isn't Bezos buys Liverpool. It's Amazon, Facebook, and the son-in-law of a steel dynasty buying 1/3 of the same football club, and none of us knows how they've split it between them. Now to the number that actually made me want to make this video. Go back to 2010. FSG, then called New England Sports Ventures, paid £300 million for 100% of Liverpool. Today, roughly a third is going for something close to £1.33 billion. So 1/3 of Liverpool now costs about 4.5 times what all of Liverpool cost then. The club's valuation has multiplied roughly 15 times in 16 years. And FSG aren't even leaving, they're selling a slice, keeping control, and by that arithmetic still holding an asset worth billions. That is one of the greatest trades in the history of sport, and they made it by buying a club nobody else wanted at the exact moment it was falling apart. Which raises the obvious question, how is a football club worth $6 billion? Look at Liverpool's own accounts for the title-winning season. Revenue, £703 million, a club record and the highest of any English club. Commercial income alone, £323 million. Media, $264. Matchday, $116. And then the number that stops you, profit after tax, £8 million. Late. On $700 million of revenue, a margin of about 1%, because wages eat around 60% of everything that comes in. So nobody is paying $6 billion for the profits. They're paying for something else. A global brand, 20 league titles, 6 European Cups, a stadium that now holds over 61,000, and a fan base that exists in every country on earth. You're not buying a business. You're buying one of about 10 sporting assets on the planet that can never be replicated, and betting that the price only goes up. Which brings us to the question every Liverpool fan is actually asking. Does the club get the money? And the honest answer is, almost certainly not. This is, by all appearances, a sale of existing shares from one owner to new investors, which means the money goes to the seller, not to the football club. Nobody is handing Anadoni Iraola £1.33 billion to spend on players. The structure hasn't been published, so parts of it could involve fresh capital, debt repayment, or infrastructure funding. When Dynasty Equity invested in 2023, that money went toward pandemic debt, Anfield work, and the training ground. But until FSG published the terms, anyone telling you Liverpool just got a transfer war chest is guessing. And here's the deeper point, the one that kills the fantasy entirely. Even if Bezos personally wanted to fund a squad of superstars, he legally couldn't. From this season, the Premier League runs a squad cost ratio system. Clubs can spend up to 85% of their football revenue, adjusted for player trading on the squad. UEFA's limit for clubs in Europe is stricter still, 70%. Wages, transfer amortization, and agent fees all count. Your owner's net worth is not in the formula. $280 billion buys you nothing that revenue doesn't already justify. There is no cheat code anymore. What rich owners can do is grow the thing that is in the formula. Commercial revenue, sponsorships at genuine market value, stadium capacity, infrastructure, lower debt costs. It's slower, it's less romantic, and it's the only lever left. So where does Amazon fit? Officially nowhere. This is reported as a personal investment by Bezos, not a corporate one. No Amazon sponsorship has been announced. No stadium naming rights. No AWS deal. No Prime Video documentary. No special broadcast arrangement. But you can see why the question hangs there. Amazon has broadcast Premier League matches in the UK, shows Champions League football in several European markets, and streams the NFL in America. So a man whose company buys sports rights becoming part owner of a club that sells them is, at minimum, a structural question worth asking. Nothing improper has been established, and I'm not going to imply otherwise. But how do you separate the investor from the broadcaster is a fair thing to want answered, and right now, nobody has. And the supporters are asking exactly that. Spirit of Shankly, the club's official supporters union, has already put 5 questions to Liverpool. When could this complete? What do the investors actually get? Board seats, influence over football decisions, dividends. Is this a one-off or the first step of a bigger sale? Why is FSG selling at all? And what due diligence is being done on the buyers? The club's answer so far is that it will meet the supporters' board if talks become more formal. Notice what the fans are worried about. Not the money. Dividends, governance, and whether this is the beginning of an exit. Which is the real question underneath all of it? Is this an investment or the first slice of a longer goodbye? There's no confirmed buyout option, no agreed timetable, no evidence FSG has committed to leaving. But selling a third is a large move, and every large move invites the next one. And the timing is stranger still, because Liverpool are mid-rebuild. They spent around £446 million and finished 5th. Arne Slot has gone. Anadoni Iraola is in. Mohamed Salah has left for Turkey. Michael Edwards stepped down as FSG's football CEO in July. So the club's market value is hitting an all-time high at the exact moment the team is least settled. A reminder that a club's price and a club's form are 2 entirely different things. So does this change everything? Honestly, less than the headline suggests. FSG still control Liverpool. Financial rules still cap spending. Amazon still isn't involved. The manager still has to win games. But something real did just happen. A club that was almost bankrupt 16 years ago has become a $6 billion asset that the third richest man alive wants a piece of. And English football has moved another step away from clubs being run by people, toward clubs being held in portfolios, next to golf leagues, cricket franchises, and space companies. Liverpool didn't get bought today. It got repriced. So tell me in the comments, is Bezos joining the ownership the best thing that could happen to Liverpool? Or the moment the club stopped being a club and became an asset class? And the question I keep coming back to, if FSG can sell a third for 4.5 times what they paid for the whole thing, what exactly stops them selling the rest? And if you want to see what happens when the richest owners in football run into those same financial rules, the full breakdown of the Newcastle collapse is already on the channel.